Back, everybody. Very good to see you. Hope that was helpful. We're going to jump in next with Lisa and Luke.
Yeah, so I'll lead us off. Can you all hear me? Cool. Yeah, my name is Luke, and I serve as the Connections and Grow lead at our Central Austin campus. And like Eric said, we're diving into this section of diagnosing needs and opportunities. And so through doing that, I just want to share a little bit of a personal story that leads into kind of a final point that I have for us before I hand it off. So before this job that I have currently, the only other job that I had was building homes. And I did that for about 7 or 8 years until about 2014, where I realized I just don't want to do this. Like, this isn't fulfilling. This isn't, as Kurt said, this isn't giving me life. I'm just not finding any sense of purpose here. And so it was at that time that I started to seek for that. And coincidentally, at the same time, I had started to begin serving at our Central Austin campus. I was setting up and tearing down the experience for our Sunday morning services. So literally just using my body, pick up things, put them back down, and put them together. But oddly enough, through that simple giving back and giving of my time and my energy, I found more purpose. I found more fulfillment. I found life in doing that. And it was through that process and meeting a few other guys that I ran into an opportunity where when Hurricane Harvey came a few years ago and ran into Houston, 5, 6 of us that I had met through serving on Sunday mornings, we went and we rebuilt a person's home in Houston. We just went down for a week. We built one home of a person who otherwise wouldn't have been able to live there. And that even more, that experience even more cemented in that building the home in this different way, not building a home to sell it later, but building this home to directly serve a need, is where I found a ton of purpose and a ton of life through that. And so the takeaway that I have for us today is, what is the next best thing you can do to find purpose? I think it's rare these days that somebody has everything figured out. You know exactly what my journey is going to be, and every step along that journey towards my purpose. And even if you do it, I would imagine that it doesn't always pan out the way that you saw that happening. And so for the rest of us that either aren't sure what the journey looks like, or it looks differently than what we had planned, what is the next best thing we can do in order to get closer and closer to finding more of our purpose? And so for us here tonight, the next best thing that we can do is, I can stop talking. I'm going to hand it over to Lisa so she can continue about diagnosing needs and opportunities.
Well played.
Thanks, Luke. If y'all haven't had a chance to meet me before, my name is Lisa, and I'm also on staff with Gateway. I'm one of the pastors for Gateway Pflugerville. And so for this section, as Luke mentioned, we are addressing how to identify the needs and opportunities in our community so as to live out our purpose. As Luke shared his story, he talked about this question we ought to engage. What is the next best thing? Discovering your purpose can feel so ambiguous and uncertain, so we invite you to take it one step at a time. Oftentimes, we don't know the needs and opportunities available to us until we just jump in somewhere and try something out. Experiment. For all you know, you may fall in love with whatever you end up trying, or you may hate it. And at the very least, you can at least cross something off your list to try as you discover how to live out your purpose. But addressing needs and opportunities in our community also requires a certain level of open-handedness. You see, all my life, I thought I was going to be a doctor. And the summer before I started medical school, I actually was invited to go overseas with the campus ministry that I was a part of in college, and invited to live and serve among the urban. And to be really honest with you, I was just expecting this to be like my last big hurrah before I buckled down and had my nose in the books for the next 8 to 12 years. But you see, that experience, just trying something new, changed my life. I tried something I would have never done otherwise, and I discovered that my heart was inclined towards serving the marginalized. in emotional, relational, and spiritual ways. And though I could actually get a medical degree and serve the marginalized through healthcare, I found that my heart, my passions, my uniqueness inclined me towards emotional, relational, and spiritual support. So I came back home. I started that year by working as a social worker among the refugee community while I was navigating and figuring out what was next. I helped resource newly arrived migrants. I offered counsel. I taught them how to buy groceries and ride the bus. I shared my life with them, and they shared their lives with me. Shortly after, I sensed a change in direction and jumped into full-time pastoral ministry among college students. And you may think that's a pretty odd jump, but I loved getting to shape and mold college students to experience life and healing, and then be a part of extending that life and healing in the world around them. I got to take them overseas and open their minds and hearts to the realities of a hurting and broken world. And I was able to be a part of equipping them with the language and skills to engage and serve the marginalized. One of the most beautiful things for me is to look back at that time in my life, because as I see all my former college students now living their adult lives, so many of them now work in marginalized communities because they learned about God's heart for the poor and disadvantaged. And this stemmed from investing in their spiritual, emotional, and relational wholeness. 7 years later, I sensed another shift, and I got my master's in counseling. I worked as a therapist for kiddos who'd been sexually abused, and I was able to intervene with trauma-informed care and counsel and got to see little ones experience life and healing. I later worked in a psychiatric facility where I was an intake therapist, and I saw people at their lowest and their worst moments. And I got to be a person of peace and a person who ushered them to their journey of healing. And after that, I was invited to be a mission pastor of my former church. I got to shape and mold our partnerships locally and globally. And then I got to sit on coalitions and councils in our city. I advocated for change in our homelessness initiatives that led to citywide policies. I jumped onto emergency and crisis management councils. We also did a lot of community listening initiatives where I taught a church how to engage with our neighbors. We would go door to door and learn about the strengths and needs of our communities so as to assess a community partnered response. We had community meetings and developed programs out of that. And I oversaw our community center, which provided free healthcare, ESL classes, citizenship courses, mentoring. And under my tenure, we even got to start a free legal aid clinic. Then God tapped me on the shoulder again. He invited me to come on staff with Gateway. And here I am. I get to be a part of planting a new community in Pflugerville that pursues God and seeks to bring his healing, justice, and love to our world. I've gotten to be a part of our initiatives where we've served at the border with undocumented folks, both in Mexico and the US. I started to develop a partnership with a local mentoring organization that serves kiddos whose parents have been incarcerated or detained. I've also gotten to jump in with our local Pflugerville ESL program to help our neighbors learn English so as to have greater access to rights and resources in our community. I've taught classes about racial justice and healing, and I've walked alongside those who are hurting. So, you may be wondering why I'm going on and on about all these things. In fact, just so you know, it makes me super squirrely to talk about all the things I've done over the years. I'm not typically one who shares about all these experiences, and I'm definitely not one who tries to boast by any means. But why I shared these experiences with you today is so that you can see the thread. You see, in all these various experiences, it goes back to what I shared at the beginning. My purpose to offer emotional, relational, and spiritual support to marginalized communities, to seek justice and healing and to catalyze others to do the same. I responded to the opportunities that opened before me. Even when I wasn't directly working with the marginalized, I was stewarding my platforms of influence to catalyze others to serve the margins. You see, that's my unique purpose. I was really blessed to weave that purpose within my vocation. And in every season of life, that purpose was expressed in distinctly different ways, whether it was through college students or refugees. The thread that wove them together was my passion for the marginalized and bringing life and healing and justice to our world. So just as we began this last section with talking about what is the next best thing, the other tool we want to give you is a posture of open-handedness. Living out your purpose rarely looks the same from season to season. But with a posture of open-handedness and proactive listening, we can discover the needs and opportunities in our community as we dive in. Needs and opportunities will fluctuate, my friends, but we have to be open to those differences. Otherwise, we'll find ourselves pigeonholed by our own expectations. One thing we do know is just as we are all wired uniquely for a specific purpose in the world, there are also huge parts of our design and purpose that are actually common to everyone. We are all purposed to belong. We're all purposed to grow. We're all purposed to heal, and we're all purposed to serve. We are given purpose and belonging. In fact, our physical bodies speak to this reality. When we have surgeries, studies show that we heal more quickly and fully when we have social support. We are designed to belong in community and invite others to belong with us, to know and to be known. We're also given the common purpose of growth. We are not static beings. We're meant to mature and grow physically, relationally, spiritually, and emotionally. Eric, if you want to hold off on that for a sec, we'll get to that in a few minutes. Thank you. So we are designed with a common purpose to grow. We're also designed to heal, to experience healing and extend our healing to the world. This can look radically different from person to person, but our thread of purpose is healing. And lastly, we're purposed to serve. Anthropologist Margaret Mead said the first sign of civilization in an ancient culture was a femur, which is a thigh bone, that has been broken and then healed. Mead explained that in the animal kingdom, if you break your leg, you die. You can't run from danger, get to the river for a drink, or hunt for food. You're meat for prowling beasts. No animal survives a broken leg long enough for the bone to heal. A broken femur that is healed is evidence that someone was taken time to stay with the one who fell, has bound up the wound, has carried the person to safety, and has tended to the person through recovery. Helping someone else through difficulty is where civilization starts. We are at our best when we serve others. We are purposed to serve. So in light of that, what is the next best thing you can do this week to live into these elements of purpose? Now, Eric will share with us his screen with a chart with some questions to get you brainstorming around that. We recognize that belonging, growth, healing, and serving can all overlap, and we hope they do. But we wanted to give you a few questions to noodle on that so you can begin to identify what is the next best thing for you. So what we'll do now, I want you to brainstorm on your own for the next few moments, and then we'll send you into breakouts. In these breakouts, we'd love for you to share, as you brainstormed, which of these opportunities most excites you and which of these opportunities most challenges you. So brainstorm based on these questions, think about what excites you and what most challenges you, and we'll send you out to breakouts in a few minutes.
I'm going to send you guys into breakouts to discuss, and then we'll be in those breakouts for about 5 minutes. Come back for about 5 minutes and before we send you out for the night. All right, here we go. All right. Well, I hope you had a great time in your groups. I just wanted to kind of wrap things up with a few thoughts. Really, as we started this off saying, this isn't really finding the exact right vocation. It's so much bigger than that. And actually, there was a moment when Jesus was asked, what's the greatest commandment? Like, if you could understand all of the scriptures, what should I know, right, is what he was basically asked. And he summarized it with this: love God and love people as you love yourself. And so I just want to encourage you that the way of wisdom is connecting deeply with God and connecting with others. And so even tonight, we've just been together for about an hour. It's virtual, but our hope is you've gotten to know a few other people. You got out of the routine of, whatever you might normally do on a Tuesday. And we do this all year round. And so there are college groups, there are anchor groups, there are community groups. And so we're going to send you some follow-up emails with materials, but also ways to get connected. And this fall can help move you forward. There's a really sweet verse I really like. It says this, that if you delight yourself in the Lord, he will give you the desires of your heart. And when I first heard that as a 20-year-old, I thought, oh, that's awesome. I've always wanted a Lamborghini. The closer I get to God, the more likely I am to get rich. And that's not what it means. Actually, the closer you are to God, the more you want what he wants for your life. And we heard several people share their story tonight that you can do the next right thing wherever you are working right now, and you could be fulfilling your purpose. And as you keep moving forward, it's amazing how things become more and more clear. And you begin to want what's actually best for your life. And it's often based on what's best for others. And so I'll send you a few links and ways to get connected. In just the last 3 minutes, if you have something in the chat, just if you have a question you want to ask, if it's for someone in particular, just let us know there in the chat. If you have any questions, we'll do a little bit of Q&A. And I'm putting in there another link. There's a video as well as notes on making decisions, kind of moving towards your purpose. You'll see 2 of them there. Yeah, any questions? Eric, can you please share the, oh yeah, that's a great idea. What I'll do is I will share that with you in the email. So I'll put it as an attachment. Is that okay, Lisa, if we include that? Thank you for that, Janeth. And by the way, if you've been around Gateway for a while, you'll start to hear us talk more succinctly like this. So if you know your next right step is to join a group, the next question is, well, what are you looking for? If it's friends, we have a way to belong, community groups, networks. If it's I need healing, we have recovery. If it's I need a place to serve, we have serving teams, both globally and locally. If it's I want to grow, we have life groups. And so the idea is just to make it simpler to find your next step. And that's our hope for you. Excellent. Any other questions? Yeah. Aaron, is that really Round Rock or is that a virtual background? Aaron Holland.
No, it's a virtual background.
Oh man, it looks so cool from here. It's like, man. All right. Any other questions? Well, we want to thank you guys for coming with a little hand clap. Can we thank those that shared their story tonight? If you don't know the reactions down there at the bottom, or yes, you can do the real kind. But thank you guys so much for coming. We'll send you some resources, and we're here to serve you. And doing it together is far better than trying to do it alone. All right, take care. Have a good night.